Okay, I had a thought and I didn't want to type it out, so here we go. I'm just going to talk about it. You know what? I hate the current state of gaming. You know why? It's not only because of all of the stupid stuff they're cramming into it, like loot boxes and battle passes, and it's free to play, oh, but it's going to suck in all of your money if you want to play any of it, like multiverses. I am tired of narrative driven experiences that suck the fun out of the gameplay. I am so fucking tired of it. Some of you probably know what I'm talking about. Some of you might not. I think it's a bit confusing right now because everyone thinks that to be a quality game, you have to have an amazing blockbuster story, but you don't. And the proof is that we used to have a bunch of games that had shitty stories, but we liked them better because the gameplay was more fun. And then there are some titles that are made by Kojima that are just masterpieces regardless because he knows how to do both at the same time. Deep breath. Okay, Sony has built their whole empire, their bread and butter is these wonderful narrative driven experiences, but can you tell me any new Sony games that do that other than what is it? The one that they've been making for since the PS3, not Uncharted. How do I not know this? How is this not popping into my head? The Last of Us. There we go. The Last of Us. It's probably one of the only modern narrative driven experiences from Sony that's fun, and I'm going to argue that it's only fun on the first time through. Is the gameplay really that fun? It's kind of like a basic third person shooter. No one tells you about the game because it's a fun game to play. They tell you about the game because, oh, Ellie or oh, Joel. But what about the gameplay? Let me actually, no, I have a better comparison. Let's look at God of War versus God of War. You know the first three games, how everyone talks about them as if they are Jesus himself? They don't talk about the new games like that. Why? Because the new gameplay sucks. It sucks ass. It used to be this cool third person hack and slash where you're just the coolest guy ever. It was basically Sony's answer to Devil May Cry, but it actually was like a more fun game. I've recently played Devil May Cry 1 and it kind of sucks. But the first three God of Wars, I played all of those. Fucking amazing. And then they were like, what if we did God of War, but there was less cool gameplay and more story that no one is ever going to talk about in their entire life? What if we did that? And then they're like, oh god, we're struggling financially. Why? Because no one cares about your fucking narrative driven experience. I like gameplay. I want to pick up the controller and feel like it's fun to hold the controller. I want to pick up the controller and then put it down as I watch a 3 hour long monologue. Although that's probably just Metal Gear Solid 4. But I don't want to watch your stupid cutscenes anymore. I, you know why I'm saying all these things? Because I was playing Revolt and I had an epiphany. I can't speak straight. I'm coming off of strong antidepressants. My brain is all fucked up. But listen, Revolt. A lot of you probably don't know what the fuck I'm talking about with Revolt. Revolt is an amazing game. It is a 1999, I think, 1999 or 98. It is a RC car racing game that came out on the PC and the N64 and the PS1 and the Dreamcast. But the only one that matters is the PC because it's the best and it has the uncompressed soundtrack. And you can get it for free right now if you go onto google.com and look up Revolt. Re-Volt. But I'm playing this game and I keep thinking to myself, this is the most cutthroat racing game I've ever played in my life. And these little asshole bastard RC cars keep fucking with me. And I feel like they have personality. And I realized, I feel like they have personality. They don't talk. They just race. They're completely silent. They're just cars. They shoot me with their rockets and they shit out their oil slicks. And like I feel like they're little bastards because they keep harming me and I can't get first place. And I'm like, I feel like I have a narrative experience happening in my head, and yet I feel like I have mortal enemies while playing this game. And it's to look at it, it just looks like the cutest little game ever. But when you play it, you realize it's life and fucking death. But I don't feel that when I'm playing a new Sony title. I don't feel that when I'm playing God of War or The Last of Us or even Uncharted or fucking Horizon Zero Dawn. More like Horizon Zero Fun. I don't feel that way. When I play Elden Ring, I feel like I'm a peasant about to go fight God. It's an open world experience set in this beautiful landscape, and there are some characters in it, and there is a somewhat of a story, but it's so basic, and yet it feels better than the shove it down your throat Horizon Zero Dawn crap. And then like the only thing people really talk about with those games is like the social discourse that it causes because dickheads come out of the woodwork to talk about, oh, Aloy's ugly. That's the discussion that happens around that game. You know the discussion that happened around Elden Ring, which on paper shares a lot of the same elements? They talked about how fucking fun it was. No one talks about how fun Horizon is. Fuck that shit. Revolt is fun, but there's no story. And yet, Need for Speed has like a narrative driven experience that's being shoved into all the newer titles or whatever. I don't care about your comic book crap. I don't care about your stupid characters that have like really bad voice acting. I care about the cars. You know what's fun? Pressing the button that makes it go and turning the steering wheel. That's what's fun. That's why I buy the games. I put the games down because of all the narrative bullshit that's in it. I put the games down because they're not fun. Because they have all these stupid things put into them. They're trying to make money off of me. You're not going to be able to do that. CEOs can't get more money out of me. I'm going to buy the game once, or I'm not going to buy it at all, or I'm going to pirate the shit out of it. That's all there is to it. They keep trying to bleed me dry, and I don't want that crap. God, you know one of the funnest Star Wars games ever was? Fucking Rogue Squadron, and it had like a very basic story. The story is not why you play it. The reason you play it is because it's a fun game. It came out in the 90s again, and it was just fun to play. It's still fun to play. It's one of the best like old dogfighting games there are because like it's just cool Star Wars. And there's nothing like that in the modern day. Well, actually there is one game like that in the modern day, and it's the Star Wars Squadrons game from EA Motive that they just made and then ditched because they were like, "Oh, we can't make $1 billion off this crap." And then they shoved in a narrative experience, which was fun on the first playthrough, but not fun at all in sequential playthroughs because the gameplay itself lacks fun. Oh my god, for 7 minutes I've been explaining why modern games suck, and I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but the narrative stuff has gotta fucking stop. I like Half-Life, and yet somehow I'm boasting about the story of Half-Life despite the fact that Gordon Freeman never fucking talks. I like Vice City and old GTA games and new GTA games too because you can make your own fun. You can make your own narrative experience in your head. That's what playing is. You're not playing anymore when you're watching something. That's a movie. That's a TV show. The Last of Us and Fallout are doing great as TV shows. Fantastic. Just make TV shows if that's what you want to do. Don't shove it into a video game. That's not fun. RPGs are fun, but that's still like you're still controlling the character, you're still deciding what happens, you're still making the fun. If an RPG was just like let's hold your hand the entire way through, then you get a Ubisoft title. Oh my god. What's wrong with these people that make these games, that make the decisions to make these games? I don't get it. Like, how can they be so rich and so idiotic at the same time? How can they not see? You have literally decades of successful IP like before you, and you can't figure out what made them fun? Where did it go? I'm sure it could be profitable. Look at Helldivers. Helldivers is making bad dollars, and yet there's no fucking narrative experience. You just open the game and you play it. I'm sure they're going to try and like extort the crap out of it. They already tried with the PSN shit. I'm sure they're going to like try and shove something into the game that's eventually going to break it, but like as it is now, it's like reliving a PS2 game experience because it just you boot it up, you have fun. God, that's another thing. When these big giant games, there's so much you have to do to just get to the gameplay. I open Revolt or Rogue Squadron and I just play the game. It happens within minutes. I don't have to log into EA Play or the PlayStation Network or some crap like that. I click the exe file and it opens. Or if you want to go to consoles, you just put a disc in and you close the tray and you play it. And there's no fucking narrative experiences on there. You know what a narrative experience was on the PS2? A cool Kojima game. Or something fun like Ratchet and Clank where it doesn't really matter what the story's doing. The gameplay is just fucking amazing. Y'all ever go back and play those games? Even Sly Cooper, as basic as it was fun because he moved well. And like you push a button and it feels nice to get him to move around. That's what's fun. Imagine if this happened to children's toys. Imagine if building blocks had a narrative experience. Imagine if Legos had a narrative experience. Just take all the imagination out of my fucking brain and do it all for me, why don't you? That's what's happening here. It's like if I was building a Star Destroyer out of Legos and I have to like somehow figure out the lore of Aloy while doing it. That's not fun. That's work. It's over-encumbered crap. You guys get it. You're smart. I don't have to talk about this anymore. Play indie games that are just fun. Play AAA games that focus more on the gameplay. That you can have a narrative experience, but it has to be gameplay first. It's like Nintendo's the only company doing that shit reliably anymore. Probably Capcom too. I'm sure Resident Evil 9 will be fun. There's stories in those games, but you mostly just play the games. Anyways, it's been 11 minutes. I'm not taking up any more of your time. Adios!